Like, yeah.
Should we start? They don't know us, so they can't really introduce it. Yep.
We have to. I think everyone is here.
Maybe we can start, yeah?
Yeah? Everyone ready? This is like the last presentation, so please keep up with us for minutes. Yeah, so let us first introduce, because we came a bit later than the rest of you. So my name is... We came at the very end. But we are here also to see your SIG presentations tomorrow. So I'm Ema, and
I'm Brigita.
We were here also on the summer school, and we decided to come back because it was very nice, and we wanted to see what this year will be all about and what presentations will be, well, actually given here on the summer school. Which is kind of a mutual topic, or let's say a mutual interest. So in a way, we kind of made a personal SIG for us both. Yeah. So our topic is basically connected with dyslexia. So how can we use M-learning to help dyslexic students or students with dyslexia study? We will use a special method to present how, well, basically we can ask the students to share their experiences, because talking about dyslexia is maybe not an easy thing to do for students that actually have to go through all the difficulties. So has anyone heard about vignette as a research method before? Yeah. So if those who have, did you use it? Yeah. So what's the experience?
Well, I used vignettes to, in my research, to give examples of short cases or scenarios in order to clarify some theoretical aspects.
Mm-hmm.
So they are very good in order for the reader to be able to understand what you mean by what you say theoretically.
Yeah.
Just link the theory.
Exactly. And it's a very good tool. So I found it very useful. I actually got to know this method some months ago. So it's brand new also for me. I was actually on a presentation where a man presented his PhD topic, and he used this as his main research method. I found it very useful because he basically used it, and this kind of inspired me. So he used a story that he presented to a certain person, and this story actually made a person share his personal experiences more easily. And this is basically the reason why we decided to use also vignettes for this research, because talking about dyslexia maybe for some students is not the easy thing. Some students are shy about it. So basically, as we already heard, it's a short story that we have to make up for the student that he can relate to, and then can share some things about it. Basically, the goal is to explore what his attitudes are, what his experiences are, and maybe also some beliefs that he has or she. So we will present you one vignette. I'm actually very happy that we had storytelling presentation right before, because this is kind of a story, using a story, but this time for researching. So this is our vignette. This is the first part of it. It says basically this Tuesday morning, you enter the classroom and sit at your desk. You take study notes out of your bag and read them briefly before putting them back. In 5 minutes, you will write an essay for your English course. Well, the original one was German course, because this was done in Austria. You are in stress because this test is very important to you for your final grade. So this is our vignette. The second part of vignette is the teacher finally enters the classroom and instructs the students to take out a sheet of paper and a blue pen. She hands out, so the teacher hands out the essay topics and gives you exactly 45 minutes to hand in your paper. And the question is, how does this situation make you perform on your test? So this was specially designed for the students with dyslexia. Some things were put in here, for example, the time limit, so 45 minutes, blue pen, so not a pencil, so that the student can actually relate to his experience. For example, I cannot erase the words that I write wrong, or I don't have more time than others, I have 45 minutes, and so on and so forth. So basically, our interviewee, so we actually made an interview with a person who actually has dyslexia and has experience with this, and we wanted to present it in the form of a comic book, just to make it more visual. So this is our student, and he said, take a look at my test. So now we will see what he does. And of course, the sentences that I will present here on this comic book are the actual sentences that the student told me during the interview. So this is his test. It was a boy. So he had, well, problems in spelling, basically. We tried to translate everything and ask him to do it for us in English, not to present everything in German. So this is basically what happened. If you see this 1 year, this is actually wrong. The year is supposed to be 1967. So it happened that the last two numbers were flipped. He got C- for this. So this is the test. And so what he said was the following. I have mistakes in grammar and spelling. So this person is aware of the fact that he makes mistakes. It makes me feel helpless because I feel like I have no influence on it. So I know that I have problems, but I don't know how to help myself. Then we go to another part. Every time when I make a mistake, it makes me feel uncomfortable because it is visible. So on the test, he writes mistakes, and it's visible because he cannot erase it. The second thing, I have a different flow in writing because I cannot just focus on the content, but also on my failures, meaning that I make mistakes, I'm aware of them, and I kind of have to also focus on my mistakes. I cannot focus on what I actually want to write on this paper. Then he continued, when I see a word, I have a feeling that this word is not entirely correct, but I'm not sure how to correct it. So for example, weather and weather, the two words in the little clouds. So he's not sure how to do it. And then a special teacher helps me find mistakes in my texts. But this approach makes me feel special in a negative way because he's marked. So what do other pupils think about me? So it's not easy for him in the classroom. And in the end, the sentence that kind of struck me the most was, it is as if someone puts my pens down in front of the whole class. So this is how embarrassing actually the whole situation is for this student. So we kind of asked ourselves, is there a way to kind of include him more in the classroom? And what can we actually do? Can we use a certain technology to integrate him more, to make him feel more better in the whole process? So I will hand it over to Brigita to explain what dyslexia is. But before, we have to ask them something. Yeah? Okay. One question, does everyone have a device which is connected to the internet? Yeah, all of you? Is there someone who doesn't? Because then you would need a sheet of a paper and just a pen, because we would like to take a certain, well, we would like to pose some questions for you to, well, actually ask you kindly to help us research. So this is based on instructions. If you have already something ready, so browse, type in msocrative.com, and it will ask you to provide a room name. And the room name is PSST14, and there will be 3 questions for you. Question wrong. Very short. Very short. So yeah, so the first question, dyslexia, when we talked about dyslexia on the comic book, the first question would be, what is dyslexia? So we would like to know what you think this is, and if you actually worked with a person.
We would like to find out
Yeah.
what do you know about the topic, your associations, your experience. We would like to know where to start. What do you already know, and what should we point out? What should we stress as important? And I can see that Edgar has already submitted the answer for the first question.
The pioneer, thank you.
You can go, please submit your answers to the third question and then stop. And please don't close your browser.
Yeah, don't close the browser, because throughout the presentation we will just ask you really short questions to help us out in the research.
So apparently, according to statistics till now, you know a bit about dyslexia.
We actually synchronize it. We have a nice tool we will show you later on, which actually updates all of your answers and shows immediately statistics. Yeah.
You have mixed experience working with kids with dyslexia or people with dyslexia. And some of you are already submitting your answers to the third question. After this, I would like you to stop and listen, look up, so we will be able to continue.
Yeah. So only the first three.
We would like you to stop when you get the third question.
That not. Okay, fourth question. You can wait a bit with the fourth question because that will come later on. So only the first three should be enough for this part.
We can include it in the evaluation of two. Should have.
Good.
No, they're not all. So here's the mistake. P.
But we don't need names anyway. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Just a few more seconds. So, like Ema said, we special teachers are all about supporting kids, giving an extra hand, being assistive, providing extra information, and we can sometimes cross that blurry line by overprotecting a child in a classroom. What dyslexia is, you can see 3 examples of how a child can see. Sorry? Damn, I thought. Okay, you'll carry? No. Okay, so here are 3 examples of how can a child see your printouts. As you can see, the first one is a bit wavy. He has the river effect. He sees a river effect. There are words missing. The space is not equal. Another example is washout effect. It looks like you got out of your ink when you were printing your sheets, And the third one is swirl effect. It looks like you're kind of dizzy. Maybe you are on drugs or something, but this is how people with dyslexia experience text when they see it in front of them. There are many theories on how a child brain works, and here's just one of them to illustrate. When we are reading a text, there are articulation center activated, there is word analysis, center for word analysis activated, and also for word form. And if you can look at the second picture, there's only one center activated. Just to illustrate you what a dyslexia is, here's a mind map. You can see there are not only problems with spelling or writing, which we normally think. There are also problems with listening, reading, motor control, and also memory difficulties. We usually think that a person who has dyslexia won't have problems, for example, in mathematics. But here's the tricky part. Mathematics demands from the child to read timetables, to memorize many dates, many sequences. There are a bunch of numbers which can overload a person's memory. And this is why also mathematics can be stressful to the child. We pointed out that an area of memory difficulties will be important for us, but first of all, let me stress out that it is a hidden disability. That means that we often mistake it for a lower intellectual ability or lack of awareness, but in reality, individual has merely an alternative means of negotiating the world, and they are usually different than our norms. So here are the examples how child with dyslexia can mix words when weather becomes weather, addition becomes addition, when off is mixed with for, and in and is the same. So if we follow the theory that people with dyslexia are right-brained, they can easily make connections, but can hardly stay on the task, especially if it demands their weakest point skills in analytical or sequential areas. Here are just 10 ways how to write a simple word, teapot. If you can see, here's an E standing on his head. Here's a T standing on his head. Here's a mirrored P. And I dare you, find 11th way, maybe 12th. Share it with us. How can you misspell, or otherly, we can say differently, how can you uniquely write a word teapot? Because all these 10 words say the same thing, teapot, but there's just some artistic way in it. Okay, so I dare you, 11th way. After our presentation, we are collecting your samples. No, yeah. So what to do with this kid? Probably teachers are rolling eyes and waiting to see what we will suggest, what are strategies, what are techniques. But first, we would like to stress that under the medical model, we include a child into a program which will help him adjust to the norms. We will train him. We will diagnose him. We will treat him as disabled. We are talking about disabled people, disabled children. They're being disabled, like your computer can get, or maybe other devices. Disability and impairments and differences, they're all about being disabled. But luckily for us, we got a step closer to a social model which says that disability is caused by a way society looks on impairments and other ways of thinking. So example of a good practice is if a child with visual impairment wants to read the latest best-selling book, what would happen under the medical model? Not much. Probably the best-selling book wouldn't be so best-selling after all. It would be, I don't know, ancient. Under the social model, publishing companies and record studios would be interested in making full-text audio recordings simultaneously as publishing books. So a child with visual impairments can join in cultural activities with everyone else. But there's still details missing. We still have a feeling that we didn't do everything we could. We don't have every information about how a child functions. So we are heading towards biopsychological and social model. We are talking about interaction between health and contextual factors. So taking in consideration biomedical factors, social factors, and psychological factors. We are interested in how a child copes with his emotions, stress, what are his beliefs, is family supportive, do peers include him in their activities, is genetics involved? And don't forget that we can only include those who were excluded. So our child, a child with dyslexia or any other special needs, has to be firstly excluded from a class, society, in order that we can include him back into it. It's a theory, it's a bit controversial thought. Think about it, and maybe we can talk it out later. Don't forget, first step you can do is by implementing a variety of learning styles, teaching methods, taking all aspects into consideration will get you to a full success. So about interaction, and here we are talking about M-learning. It's a next inquiry which waits for you at msocrative.com. Some of you have already filled in the questions, your answers. Maybe I would kindly ask you to submit it. Everyone else, can you do it? Now, fourth question. And we'll continue after that.
Okay. Okay, so most of you have submitted the answer to the question, what's M-learning? I guess also during this PSST you have had at least one chance to hear something about M-learning, but also probably in your research and in your studies, because it's a very hot topic right now. So I would like to just briefly say something about M-learning. I will not talk a lot about it because it's a very popular topic and most of you know already a lot of things about it. So basically the idea behind M-learning is to use so the pedagogical models and transfer them to the mobile world. When we talk about the mobile world, we of course do not talk only about mobile phones. It's also about PDAs, MP4 players, tablets. We know that there's a lot of projects in a lot of countries, tablets in schools. But let's also think about and do not forget about a new piece of technology, which are also wearable devices. So today it's also possible, because wearable devices can also be categorized as mobile devices, they can also be used in schools. So this is one of the possibilities that we can actually integrate into our classrooms if we, of course, design the activities appropriately. So basically, what we want to do is transfer the artifacts from the real environment into the digital environment. So this is what we are trying to do. We are not trying to here maybe, how to say, isolate a student, put him in front of a screen. We are trying to help him by using learning technologies. So digital learning environments basically not only provide safe and controlled environment for a student, but also can improve memory skills. If you remember, Brigita said a bit earlier something about memory skills, that students with dyslexia actually have to exercise their memory skills. So we will actually focus our work on memory skills. But before we go into the memory skills, we just have to a bit explain what we mean by M-learning and about using technology in education. So what we want to do is help them get a certain device which will make them study or learn in an interactive way. So to get an immediate feedback. Also that it is very motivating for them. For example, if we use a story, if we use pictures, if we use multimedia, basically what we want to do is address different learning styles. So that's what we heard. The other thing is it's a controlled environment, so it guides the student. Especially important for students that actually need help in studying. So young students, also it's engaging. So you need to perform a certain activity. You're not basically just sitting in the classroom in a face-to-face environment and passively listening. So it should be also engaging. Some guidelines have been proposed, but for the web. So we will adapt to these guidelines to propose our own, basically, app for students with dyslexia. So these are the guidelines. I will not read all of them because there's quite a lot of them. This is also not the whole list. But basically, it is about using fonts that are easily readable to students that have dyslexia. So talking about serif fonts, non-serif fonts, the size, and so on, and the color, for example. So this would be, let's say, dyslexic-friendly fonts. That's how we can call them. So this is just one example. And if you want to know more, we will provide you with the presentation. Here is the link of the fonts that are dyslexic friendly. So now we will go into memory techniques, and as it says here, next question awaits. So this is question 5, if I am on the track. So please fill in your answer to question 5. Some of you have already done it. Those who didn't, please submit the answer. And then we will go on with the memory techniques. So why do we actually talk about memory techniques, and how can we actually use memory techniques combine them with what we know about dyslexia, and also combine them with what we know about M-learning. So we will see some examples now. This was the test that I showed you at the very beginning of the presentation, and the student was aware that he has spelling mistakes. So let us see how he can improve his spelling by using memory techniques combined with mobile technologies. So it says here, not every dyslexic person faces the same challenges. We basically underlined this phrase dyslexic person because, well, Brigita can maybe jump in.
Yeah, we had a discussion about it. And we would like to stress out that a person who has dyslexia has also brown hair, glasses. He also has big feet whatsoever, but we are tagging him as a dyslexic person.
Not as a brown-haired person, for example.
So maybe we are implying to you use a person in front, everything, and after that add he has dyslexia, he has eyeglasses, he walks funny, he talks cool, you know. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. So person comes first.
This is the person first language by APA, American Psychological Association.
Yes. So these are some examples that Brigita will explain you, because she found very nice memory exercising examples.
And you probably know
them.
But to activate you a bit, so we won't fall asleep, I would like you to ask if you can name the planets in order from the sun out. Come on.
But without using Google.
5 seconds. Okay, over. So, anyone have a question, an answer? So yes, my very earnest mother just served us 9 pickles. Oh yeah, I forgot that Pluto, right? That's right, and so the new mnemonic would be? So what would be the new mnemonic? You can create your own one.
Use storytelling.
Be unique. Be unique. Here is.
But exclude Pluto.
Here are planets from sun out, and let's hear some ideas. You must use M, V, E, M, J, S, us, and
U and N.
Delphi, and with you. So, anyone? Use your imagination and create a funny story for us. Please.
Just can keep everything and get instead nachos for Annie. So my very early mother just served us nachos.
The best. Anyone else?
I had one when I was thinking. Mine was like, my very eager mother jumps. So I had a different opinion, like on which words to use. But basically, the idea is that you use something that is maybe funny for you so that you memorize it. We learned about storytelling, which was a really great presentation. And we know that when we use a certain story, we memorize things. So we know this.
So another challenging question is for you to name stages of cell division. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Anyone?
Prophase, prometaphase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase.
May I ask, did you have a technique to memorize them?
No, I just learned them by heart.
Yeah, you were repeating once, twice.
Yeah, I connected them with the pictures, how it looked like.
Oh, well, here is a suggestion how to learn them. You can put them in combination, and you, for example, you get IP math. So the stages of cell division would be IP math. So interface, proface, metaface, anaface, teleface. Okay, IP math. We know how to we know to name stages of cell division, but let's hear some other techniques.
This is just to kind of let's say, wake up what you have learned already and maybe make you start thinking about how you learned it. So you probably, so as you said, you connected pictures with words. Some people make some other techniques. But let's say for dyslexic person who has problems with spelling, how can this person improve on his test? So for example, on his test, he spelled friends as friends. So this was his word. This was unfortunately wrong. The correct version is friends with an I and D inside. So what is difficult for me as an individual, because I want to approach every student individually, and how can I encourage the student to help himself? Because when I start helping him in the beginning, this is great, but later on when I'm not here with him anymore or with her, this person has to continue on his own. So let's see what kind of techniques we can propose to the students. For example, for the word friends, in friends he missed I and D, those two letters. So he can say friends is friends plus ID. I dance with my friends, for example. So I dance. Or he can, for example, instead of an I, draw a little person and then make a smiley out of D. So friends are happy persons, for example. So this is just some way of how to associate, let's say, pictures with the words. Another difficult example, for example, a word necessary, how to spell necessary. We know there's two E's and two S's in the word. So basically what the person did, it drew a smiley. E's were eyes, a C was some kind of a nose, and then S's were two snakes. The person just saw it like this. And moreover, the person said, okay, I will memorize this word by speaking it necessary, hissing, like a snake. And then this person said, okay, if I remember necessary, maybe I can associate it with the picture from my cartoon that I really like, which was Jungle Book, and this was the snake Ka. So every time when the person had to spell necessary, it would think about that movie. So this was a very helpful technique for this person. Another one which I use now because I heard it from some other people, how to memorize, this is not my PIN, but how to memorize your PIN, right? 472. I know it's not 427, but how do I know it? Because I made a story. And my story is 4 friends are drinking 7-Up and 2 a.m. Whatever, right? So anything that helps you, or 2 p.m. Let's not make them stay up late. But anything that basically makes you memorize your numbers. So we actually wanted to propose our own app for mobile phone, which would help students with dyslexia to improve their memory skills. It is based on Droid. I don't know if anyone has basically used it. There are a lot of similar apps. These are basically flashcards. So you are presented with a certain picture or with a certain sound, and you basically have to, let's say, spell a certain word. You check it by clicking here on the check your answer, and it flips the card and shows the correct answer. So this was our, let's say, motivating app to start from. So what we proposed are the following steps, and we are actually building this app right now. Well, not at this moment, but in this period of time, we are building an app. So basically, how to help a student spell better. We want to use, as we said, mobile technologies, and we want to use the memory skills. So what we are doing is the following. So a student should write a text. Then this text is automatically compared with a dictionary to check which words are basically spelled wrong. Then mark the wrongly written words, either make them big or mark them red. Then extract those marked words which were spelled wrong and present them on a flashcard. So this is done automatically. Then we want to allow a student to choose his own preferred technique. For example, put in the picture or make a certain story about this word. Then learn those words, take a quiz. If you are correct, then finish the quiz. If you're not correct, repeat the words that you have to still learn. So this is basically the simple proposal for our app. These are the mock-ups. So these are not screenshots, but we kind of showed which option would come at which place. So this is basically what we just explained. So this would be the text. This would be also checking the words that were spelled wrong. Let's say these two words were spelled wrong, that's why they are written big, but we would probably make them red or somehow even more distinctive. And then it says here how many words were wrong. And of course, we want to encourage the student. So if he has, for example, 20 wrong words instead of 9, he might feel depressed. So what we wanted to do when you click on this link to get the list of the words, well, basically, get an uplifting sentence. It's okay. You can do this. So this is what we wanted to do. Then each word is, of course, extracted to its own flashcard, and then a student is presented with an option basically to work on this word so that he can memorize it better. So he can, let's say, put in some pictures, put in a story, record a sound, put in the picture, and so on. And this would be his test. So this is his quiz. He can, of course, choose the size of the font, which is very important for them. Then a magic wand is a clue or a tip. For example, let's say this specific word is necessary. When you click on a magic wand, a picture of Ka, that snake, would appear, just so that you kind of associate it, that you remember it. And the results, of course, the statistics come at the very end. So this is basically the proposal of the app. Currently, we are, well, on this step. So this step is now almost done. When the one is done, of course, did you put this app into practice? I actually wanted to just say it now, so good question. We will put it into practice. We will check it with the student for some time to see if this really helps. And we will, of course, try to publish the results. Yes, you're welcome. So yeah, the final task is, well, a bit of a practical task. So we want to see the apps that you use daily on your phones or tablets. Do you think they are designed for people that have dyslexia? Please put in the answers in your in your sixth box. What do you think? So basically what we are trying to point out is that people with dyslexia are kind of excluded because they cannot use apps that we use daily. So please try to judge if the apps that you use are, well, designed also for people with dyslexia. Well, thank you for your attention. And if anyone has any questions, we would be very happy to provide you with an answer.
Thank you so far. So, some questions?
I wanted to tell Brigita and Emma that I totally share your opinion that the social model of disability is extremely valuable model for the approach in this field. But obviously, let's not exclude the other two components of the biopsychological social model, because no wonder they were integrated, because each one of them separately has many advantages and as many disadvantages. So as we can see, the social model of disability, yes, it's a very postmodernist approach, but it has many disadvantages, and one of them would be that if we only approach disability through this model, we actually end up being over flexible, and not have any structured approach in, for example, assessment or any kind of introduction. So thank you.
Thank you for your words. Actually, you summarized and again repeated the necessary to look contextual factors. It's really important to look wide, see everything that's happening, every aspect of functioning. So thank you, really. Maybe 2 minutes for this activity. And thank you for your patience. You were a great audience. And hope to see you soon.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, and next year. Probably
And then
not.
now PSST is not organized.
I
Mm.
know.
There will be some statistic results, yeah?
Of course.
So I already
So-
submitted
We will-
my answers.
So
you
you-
see,
you-
I don't have
you-
my computer, but I already
So you didn't test it yet?
It's
your
not
software,
built. Yeah, it's not built
Ah, you are
completely.
building
So we are building it, and what we will do is we have to empirically test it with actual students that have dyslexia to see if this actually helped them. So we have to see if our model basically is there for them, and then we will publish the statistics and the results, and preferably use also vignettes to help them talk about it.
And,
Yeah.
It's very difficult to prove an efficiency of an intervention program based only on vignettes.
Yeah,
You need
of course.
You also need quantitative data.
Yeah, that's why we will basically use vignettes to make them start talking about it, but we also have to check how they performed on their test after they have studied with the app as compared how they did before. The empirical part what we will do. And it's always good to combine because Brigita, her specialty is students with special needs. I'm studying all informatics only. And of course, every input is always very much welcome. Yeah.
and how are you manage this technically? If one is teacher and second is medical.
Oh, I'm informatics, so I'm doing informatics, and Brigita is also studying to be a teacher. So I'm combining basically we are outsourcing to each other in a way, which is great because we actually met last year on the PSST and we found a common interest, and now we are actually working on some stuff together. Yeah, so everyone is welcome to join. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Yeah.
A summary of. Let me help you.
Okay.
Can I close an activity in Socrative? Is there anyone who is still submitting their answers? Would like to submit them? I can see that you haven't done it all till the end, but is there someone who would like to submit it but didn't have a chance to do it? No? Okay, thank you. You are eager to see statistics?
Yeah, we are waiting for it. Can't you see?
Okay.
Emma, you close the inquiry.
Yep.
Yes, righty.
But well, if there are any
She
additional,
asked for this.
if there are any additional comments, or if you kind of pop up with some ideas, you can always drop us an email. We will include it in our study. That would be very much appreciated because you are all studying about teaching and technologies, and this is a perfect way to actually come to get some ideas. So it's really collaborative.
Okay. I think I should reconnect computers.
Yeah. Yeah. anyone is interested in statistics, well, the tool is Socrative. I have actually never used it before. Brigita actually approached me with this tool. It's really, I find it really nice. Actually, it provides you with, well, it synchronizes your output basically. So it's really nice.
I think it's without those screws.
Okay.
You shouldn't screw it. Just put it in. It's okay. It doesn't matter. It's just statistics.
Can you see it? Hmm? Well, actually, you get an Excel document, and you can choose how you want to have your statistics. So, from names or from your class or by questions. Well, it will be hard to do summary and analysis of your questions or your answers right now.
Till tomorrow, maybe?
I would propose so. We can send it on email and you will all get it. You can read it if interested, if not, whatsoever, right? So I think it's a pretty useful tool. It has some errors, mistakes, but also have it. What happened? Share.
You know, this joke about deadly joke? Read it.
Okay.
That's not
included.
about you.
Okay.
It's there.
You're excluded. Come on.
So thank you.
You too.
So, dear colleagues, it was the last presentation for today. I think that we cannot summarize it without Thomas summarizing of whole project, yeah, of whole. But we should switch the camera off. Who can manage it? We should.